So the insights, and I want you to keep in mind as you hear this video, zero use of psychoactive substances other than caffeine on the morning of the 31st. 1 cup in this whole time. Um, I was on water, tea, and a little bit of caffeine, and that's it. Um, the biggest insights that I got was getting a more embodied feeling around the causes of my specific bipolar, what led to my psychosis. For me, it was a big clash of perceptions of the world and the universe. I had checked in with my ex-girlfriend about kind of what was I like when I started being symptomatic. And as I vaguely recalled correctly, I started being symptomatic after this particular music festival in 2017. And that festival was so powerful, it shattered my worldview. Now, there were many layers to that, but one layer was seeing this incredible universe that was created in this camping festival ground, which was my first of its kind, by the way, versus the day-to-day reality of suburban city life 9 to 5. This was just, if this universe is possible, why are most people living like this? And that's not a practical question. I know there's valid reasons for all of that, but in my head, it was, wow, we could have a paradise, and we, for some reason, are not. What is the disconnect here? And I realized part of my being so activated is from being highly sensitive. I realized how highly sensitive I was to energy when I was in the darkness, as I could sometimes just feel the energy of walls and objects that I had to navigate through. I could feel music, even though it was not at an audible volume necessarily. Um, yeah, so this intersection, um, on top of the fact that I realized I was highly activated in, well, by music, number one, and by interesting people, number two. And at the festival, there was all of that in abundance. Um, and all of the 9 to 5 day job life worries were out of the picture. So just a concoction of an environment which really helped me validate that I don't think it was any prior psychedelic exploration that caused bipolar. They caused shifts in perceptions, but the biggest shift in perception of worldview really happened when I went to that music festival. Um, some more insights, and I keep looking at my paper of the notes, were really observing subtleties, subtleties of perception, um, both in terms of body signals like hunger, thirst, the desire to stretch, but also subtleties in what kind of experience do I want to create for my body mind right now? And I, I was absolutely not thinking of having a hot bath prior to coming into the ritual. This was something that I realized at some point after a nap, after some music, after some tea, I thought it might be getting pretty late, and I feel like it would be a good way to wind down. And then that became almost a mini sub-ritual. But to be able to tune the water temperature, to be able to tune how I entered the bath, to be able to put some scent in the bath room and to bring my laptop from the living room to the bathroom so that I could create the continuation of the musical experience while having the bath. That was something that, yeah, it is not usual. Um, and then other insights on blurring boundaries and dissolving boundaries and mental concepts. For example, um, this is something that had popped up in my consciousness before, but it popped up again this time. And it was, what is the difference between what is real and what is imaginary? Because if you can imagine anything right now, right here, right now, then what does that make of what is reality? It's a big question to ponder. Another blurred line is the line between genius and insanity. Um, I know there's a lot of stigma around mental health, mental illness, particularly. Um, I was called crazy, or I could label the states that I've been in as crazy states, at least compared to the norm and the typical day to day, and even right now, normal, typical. But I think there's a lot that we don't know about this universe. There's a lot more that we don't know. And it may be that these states that we are in with mental illness might be accessing something that is much more real and much more deep than and transcendental compared to the mundane, ordinary consciousness reality. And so that's always a line that I ponder about. For me, the truths that I have experienced in, let's say, ill states were still truths nonetheless. Um, and finally, yeah, oh yeah, I also emptied the dishwasher. I forgot to mention that in the what happened. I emptied the dishwasher and I stacked the stuff together, grouped them nicely. Nothing broke, nothing, no problem. Anyway, last insight that I got was just realizing the whole vastness of infinity, of really not just infinity in space, but infinity in time, realizing the timelessness, the specialness, and the kind of fullness, that duality of space and not space. But at the end of the day, everything is made of little tiny, tiny bits of something, energy, and lots of space. And that's just something to ponder about. And when we are in the darkness, we do blur those boundaries. I was holding the cane, and that cane was a part of my body. It was an extension of me because I needed it to detect my environment. So then you ask yourself, well, what is the difference between me and my environment? And I think Well, you can have certain experiences that will tell you or point you towards the experience that there is none, or that you are not your body, which goes back to the same thing. And then you have a greater embodiment of your awareness, just pure awareness, infinite awareness. So, yeah, pretty powerful, um, pretty successful. I also cried like a baby when a particular song came on, and released some stuff that maybe I was falsely believing were related to my illness, or at least if they were related to the illness, then the crying helps them release and wash away. And so, yeah, overall, absolutely worth it. Powerful way to transition to 2025. And yeah, I look forward to integration time of embodying this new identity, this I would say heightened consciousness, heightened awareness, and heightened embodiment state, and see, yeah, how it maintains itself and how it changes my relationship to other parts of the environment. That's it for this one. See you in the next one.